Solve by graphing. So when we solve by graphing, all we're doing is we're just going to graph both lines, see where those two lines cross. So let's start with that first line. This is slope-intercept form. So what do we need to plot first when we're graphing from slope-intercept form? 4 on what axis? The y-axis. Perfect, right? That's my y-intercept right there. So I go up to 4. Okay, and then what's my slope of this line?
3.
Yeah, 3. What does that mean in terms of rise over run? It's really, so, yeah, so we can, it should be up 3 over 1, but you're right. I don't have enough room to go up 3 over 1. So I can go the opposite way. So I could go down 3 to the left 1. Right? Down 3, 1, 2, 3 to the left 1. Down 3 to the left 1. Down 3 to the left 1. Does that make sense how I figure that out? Right? And this is still a positive slope, right? That's what I want. I want a positive slope. Okay. And then what about my second line? What's my y-intercept? 4. And what's my slope of that line? -2, so that means I go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, right? Down 2 over 1. And so there's my line. And am I done?
No.
Is that it? No, now what do I do?
You have to find the one that meets.
Yeah, where's the intersection?
4.
What's the, yeah, what?
0, 4.
0, 4. Good. That's my solution. Okay? You have a problem exactly like this. I'll give you 2 lines, both in y-intercept form. You need to graph both lines and then find where they intersect. Okay? That was like 3 minutes. That did not take long. That was not too bad, right? It's pretty easy. Should be. Okay. Now we could, what's up, Zane? You good? Okay. Over here, I can show you, we're still going to use the same 2 problems here. You could also solve by using a table. Why? Okay. You could also solve by using a table. Let me just show you how this works. You won't have to do one like this on the quiz, but I'm just going to show you this to kind of make you see a different version of the same thing. Okay. So I'm going to put in, I'm just going to use 3 of these boxes. So I'm going to put in -1, 0, and +1. Okay. And those are my values for X or Y. X, right? It's in this X column. Why do you think I have 2 Y columns here?
Because there's 2.
There's 2 equations, right? So let's call the top equation Y1 and the second equation Y2. So then in my little table, make this one Y1 and this one Y2. Okay. So what I'm going to do, if I wanted to solve something by using a table, we did this when we looked at the Edna and Maria problem. And we also used it when we did that tree growth problem. We had tables that we looked at. So what we do is we can take this value for X, this -1, and we can plug it in for X right there. So I'll rewrite this equation right here just so you can see it. Y equals 3. And then I'm going to plug in -1 for X. Okay. So I'm plugging in -1 into this equation. So when X equals -1, what's Y going to equal? I can figure that out by just solving or simplifying this. What's 3 times -1?
2.
Times 3 plus -1 is 2. 3 times -1.
3 times -1.
Negative 3.
Yeah.
What's negative 3 plus 4? Yeah, positive 1, right? Okay. Positive 1. Now let's plug in 0. So I'll do the exact same thing, but I'm going to plug in 0. If I plug in 0 to this equation, what happens? What's 3 times 0? 0. And what's 0 plus 4? 4. So when x is 0, y is 4. And then same thing again, I'm going to plug in 1 for x. So if I plug in 1 for x, what do I get? What's 3 times 4?
3.
Or 3 times 1? 3.
7.
And 3 plus 4 is? Exactly. So when x is 1, y is 7. Okay? And then just real quick, we're going to do the second equation now. So same thing on the second equation. So y negative. So I'm going to plug in negative 1 for x in this second equation. Okay, so I get negative 2 times negative 1 plus 4. What's negative 2 times negative 1? Positive 2. What's 2 plus 4? 6. Okay. Now if I plug in 0 for x, if I plug in 0 for x, I get negative 2 times 0 is? 0 plus 4 is? 4. And then finally, one more. If I plug in 1 for x, what's negative 2 times 1? Negative 2. What's negative 2 plus 4? 2. Okay. So this is saying, right, this first line right here, it says when x is negative 1, the first equation is positive 1. The second equation is 6. What do you think is significant about this line right here? The second line. They're the same, right? When x is 0, both y1 and y2 are 4. So that point, again, right, x and y, this is my solution, where both equations equal the same thing. Oh, I wrote solution. Solution. Okay? All right, so this was solving using a table. And then what was the third method we've talked about? What did we talk about? What have we been talking about all week? Substitution. So now we're going to solve this using substitution. So I'm going to use same equations, y equals 3x plus 4, and y equals negative 2x plus 4. I have both equations solved for y. Both equations have the y all by itself. What am I going to do? What's my first step to solve?
Put the 2, swap the 2, negative 2, or put it in for x.
Not quite. You can substitute, but what are you going to substitute? What does y equal in this first equation?
3x, and it also equals.
So what can I do with 3x plus 4?
Plug it in for y.
Plug it in for y. So what does my second equation become?
3x plus 4 equals negative 2x plus 4.
Okay, I have variables on both sides of the equal sign. How do I solve When I have variables on both sides of the equal sign, what does my first step need to be? Yeah, round up all the variables to one side of the equal sign. So how can I do that here?
3x. 3x minus 3x.
Yeah, I can subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, so these 3x's cancel. So I've got 4 equals. What's negative 2x minus 3x? Negative 5x plus 4. And now what?
Divide. Wait, no, not that yet.
Subtract first. Exactly. What do I subtract?
Both sides. 4.
Yes, this one, right? Minus 4, minus 4. These ones cancel out, so I just have 5 or negative 5x equals, what's 4 minus 4?
0.
0. So now what's my last step to solve for x? Divide by negative 5. What's 0 divided by negative 5?
0.
0. So what does x equal? 0. Am I done? Now we got to solve for y. So what am I going to do with that 0 to solve for y?
Plug it in for second equation.
Yeah, I could have plugged it into that equation, to the top equation too. It doesn't matter. This, yeah, pretty much the same, but yeah, you can choose either one of those equations.
So y equals negative 2 times 0.
Y equals negative 2 times 0 plus 4. What's negative 2 times 0? What's 0 plus 4? So what's my answer?
4. Y equals 4.
What's my answer to the whole thing?
4. I mean,
0, 4, yes. Okay, always x and y. Questions? Last minute questions.